Welcome to Leadership, the secret sauce, where extraordinary coaches and leaders reveal what makes them exceptional. We're your hosts, Dave Lipsky and Matt Dodson. Together, let's discover our guest's secret sauce. Today's episode is brought to you by Character Matters Coaching and Consulting. At Character Matters, we believe great leadership isn't just about results. It's about who you become along the way. From career transitions to team building, we help leaders unlock clarity, build resilience, and lead authentically. Because when character grows, impact follows. Visit charactermatterscoaching.com. Today's episode is supported completely unofficially by a community we deeply believe in, the International Coaching Federation's Coaching in Organizations. If you're building or leading an internal coaching program, this is where your people find their people. It's a space to swap real stories, sharpen your craft, and stay connected to what's emerging in our field. If you haven't joined yet, take a moment to sign up and plug into the conversations shaping the future of organizational coaching. Your community is waiting, and they're ready to learn with you. Go to coachingfederation.org/coaching-in-organizations-inquiry to get started.
All right. It's great to be here with our guest, Buzz. Dave, will you introduce Buzz to our audience?
I will. First of all, I definitely, is it a hoorah? What goes with that nonverbal, Buzz?
I'll just say booyah.
Booyah. Booyah. All right. So first of all, I am so excited to have Buzz on, but I wanted to just start off with like a check-in question before we do introductions. On a scale from 1 to 10, Buzz, what is your energy level at the present moment?
Wow, I am at a high 9.62.
Very cool. What has you at that 9.62?
What doesn't have me as a 10 is because I've got a friend from our church, and he's in a surgery this morning. So not to bring it down, but I have been looking forward to being on this show for a long time and listen to avid listener. And I do love talking to other coaches. So this conversation is going to be awesome for me. I appreciate it. I brought my beagle here with me to listen in. And so we're ready to go.
I'm sending prayers and vibes Matt, where are you? What energy level are you at?
I'd probably say I'm at an 11 today. 11. Yeah, a little bit of Spinal Tap, but a little bit of it was just an amazing week.
Very, very nice. Yeah, you know what? I'm bringing up the low end at like a 9.23. But I feel energized. I'm very excited. I just had a coaching session that it felt like it was kind of like pushing a rock up a hill. Right. So, but it was a good coaching session. And then Saturday, I get my first week of full grandpa babysitting with my granddaughter. And, I feel like the pressures of, having to perform in front of my son. And then at the same time, the joy of being able to spend time with my granddaughter. So I'm very excited about that. So
that's this Saturday, Dave.
Starting Saturday. So on the way, Buzz, on the way to the largest quilting convention in the world, you're sitting next to somebody and they say, Buzz, what do you do? How do you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I open right up with I'm an executive coach and I work with leaders. And usually that kind of spawns some different directions, which we all are kind of familiar with. Like I get maybe I'm talking in a low tone, I'm a low. Sometimes my pitch is low. And it's like, oh, what sport is that? Or something like that. You get those weird type questions. And some people tune right in. You're like, oh, what does that mean? And well, I work with leaders, what kind of leaders? And so I kind of go into that type of discussion about how I work with leaders. And that kind of gets into personality tools and behavior tools and how I like to listen. I emphasize that to people. And we usually get in a pretty good discussion before they get their headset on. And, if we're on a flight or something like that. And by that time, my wife's tuned me out, who's sitting next on the other side.
Buzz, do you use the retired military get on the airplane early access?
So actually, no, because that's kind of changed. And many airports, usually it's active duty, and some are active duty in uniform type thing. And I was always kind of shy about doing that anyway. And in the military, you kind of turn away from taking any favors or anything or upgrading. I'll tell you, I was on a Southwest flight. I was in uniform. And the flight attendant came up to me and gave me 2 beer tickets. And she said, "There's a person over there that wants to buy you a beer. I know you can't drink, but here's some for the next flight." I was like, thank you. The American public is just so awesome to us. So,
hey, Buzz, so a question that we want to make sure we get to ask you is just about, okay, so if anybody pays any attention to your LinkedIn profile, right, they know that you talk about your career, your past, but we're really curious, like, how did you get to become a coach? Like, what happened for you to say, hey, look, this is something that I'm really interested in doing? What was that?
Yeah. So years ago, I took an EMBA, and this was many years ago. And I thought I was going to be leaving the Air Force. And I was meeting a board, and I was leaving the Air Force. And during this EMBA, I started looking at this coaching, and I can't really even think of how it spawned. It was maybe in a class, somebody brought this up, and we were talking about executive coaching. And I was like, wow, that's like a lot of what I do in the military, like right now. And I really interest me because I like working with people. I like helping them. I like serving them, like as a servant leader in the Air Force. And that's kind of where I was. And so I started looking at this, and they had electives. Like you could make your own elective. Like they had an option. So I put together this elective, did a bunch of research on executive coaching, and they found me an instructor. That instructor used to be an executive coach, and she was amazing. She was a PhD. She was this amazing person, and she's became an amazing friend and mentor to me, and still lives here locally, and I still have contact with her. And so I produced this paper and did a lot of work on it. Come to find out, I didn't leave the Air Force. Yeah. So stayed another like 13 years or 14 years. And so the whole time I'm thinking, hey, this is something I'm really interested in, and tried to stay in tune to it. And the closer I got to leaving, the more I thought about, hey, I would really love to do that. Because that's really what I was doing as an officer in the military, was mentor coaching, helping others, serving others, and seeing them through their careers. And I just love that. That's the piece I just really loved in the Air Force.
Well, let me just ask, so when did you discover what your secret sauce was? And maybe you can tell us what that is also.
So I think, so it kind of evolved here. I would kind of say, when I went in the Air Force, I was enlisted first, and then I became an officer. And later on, you take leadership roles, and you take up increased leadership roles, and eventually you get teams of folks. And inherently, as part of a leader, you're part of trying to work with people and bring a team along. I just love that. I love small unit leadership. I love teams. I love us getting to the finish line. I love it when people are successful out of that. I loved it when, people were winning awards on the team. When the team won awards, that was awesome. And to bring that along, you really have to bring those people along in a mentorship, servant leader type role. That to me is the key. And if you were to ask me what my secret sauce would be, is like being personable, being approachable, being able to work with people, and just get down on their level and be with them. Yeah, I really think that's what that is. And I kind of tap into that, I tap into that as a coach, because I feel kind of like the relationship is everything. I think life is about relationships, and all relationships are about trust. And so being able to be approachable and work with people, that's where that trust builds. And I think that's probably where that secret sauce kind of comes in for me.
Yeah. When you reflect back on your long career, and thank you for your service, Buzz. I really appreciate everything that you've done. And I know you are so humble, and you have such amazing experiences. And as I talk with you, and you share your secret sauce, I see Buzz as this person for the last 40 years, and then slapping a coaching label on, or some point you came to this thing and said, no, I want to be a coach. That means I need to be something different.
Yeah, I think it was happening. I think the leadership thing kind of was there. I said I wasn't going to tell this story, but I'm so fond of this story.
Share it.
We were just at my house, like we had people over the house, and in the house we have this picture of where me and my wife, we met in drama club in high school. We were high school sweethearts. And so when we were like 15, 16, we went to this drama club competition, and we had just kind of met really. And at this competition, it was really, man, it was on a thread. Like, we didn't have any money. We were on these buses that were crappy. And so it was really below zero weather. It was at a competition. We were at this other college. We had gone there as a group. And when we came out to the van, I got on this van, and there was only one seat open, and the window had been broken. And so there was one girl in the back with a blanket, and it was my wife at the time, not my wife at the time, my girlfriend. She invited me to sit next to her and share a blanket. And so that's kind of how we started going together. But this picture had us in the drama club at our house. And my wife is telling this very story to somebody else. She doesn't know I'm listening. And she goes, yeah, he was the last one on the bus because he was our leader. And I'm like, he was our leader. Like, I never thought about that. I was like 15, 16. Like, where was the instructor? Where was the teacher? Like, I was inside finishing up the paperwork, getting the stuff back in the van. Like, I just always had an early drive to help and lead and serve people. And I don't think I really recognized that till later on, especially in the military, and especially becoming a flight commander and officer later on. And it just makes me, I've never told my wife that story, so I need to tell her that.
Hey, Buzz, could you, often leaders have like a defining moment, usually, or sometimes through, when it happens where everything falls apart. Can you share with us one of those stories and maybe how that shaped your secret sauce?
Yeah, so my dad passed away when I was like 21, and I was not in the military at the time. And when my dad passed away, he actually passed away on a golf course, and we were golfing with him. And afterwards, there was me, my brother, and my dad with me, and he passed away. And then about a little while later after that, the guy that was with us came over to my house. He lived next door, and it's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm drinking a beer. He goes, no, I don't mean that. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I got a baby. I got a young wife. I don't have enough money to go to school. Like, I don't know what to do. Well, this guy was Tech Sergeant Seminati. He was an Air Force NCO that was down at the base. So we started chatting. He explained, hey, you can get your education through the Air Force, and you can do this and you can do that. It's like, okay, well, maybe so. And so that December, I signed up to go to the Air Force, like about 3 or 4 months later. And so from there, that just kind of took off. That was a real defining moment, a defining summer for me. I had seen a leader in the civilian world do this heroic action, and it was a heroic action around really almost saving somebody's life at a large construction site. And when I saw this, I'd never seen leadership act or work like that before. And it was really him putting our needs in front of his. And I was just kind of like, I didn't know how to label or articulate that. But that action, when I saw that, has just resonated in my mind for like the last, 50 years. And so going from, that, and then my dad passing away, going in the Air Force. And then once you get in the Air Force, man, if you go with the system, you're an NCO, you're in charge, you're a leader. I became an NCO. I want to be an officer. And then they just start like, hey, you might be a missileer, you might be a pilot, you might be a logistician. You're an officer first. And as an officer, like now, we had twice as many people in the Air Force as then, but as an officer, you lead like 250,000 people. There's a 250,000 people that you outrank. Like, that is a huge, huge thing to weigh on your shoulders. And so I always, when I went in every day, besides the faith with our American public that you need to maintain, I just always thought, well, hey, I need to serve those leaders. I need to serve those other people. And so I need to do better every day. And I think that was the moment. That summer was incredible for me and life-changing.
Yeah. As a, if we followed you around for a week with your servant leadership, how does it show up now? What's that? Oh, can you hear me okay?
Go ahead. One more time.
Buzz, yeah. I love what you're talking about with your servant leadership, and you epitomize that. And I'm wondering if we saw you in your coaching and your podcast and the work you're doing now, how would we see that servant leader show up as a coach?
Yeah. Oh, as a coach. Yeah. Well, first off, if you travel anywhere with me, anywhere, just like today, right? Like I talk a lot. And so, and I tell people that up front, like, which is bad for a coach, right? Stacking questions, talking a lot, maybe not the best thing to do in life. But so I tell people that up front. And in a coaching conversation, when I get in a real coaching conversation, I really do get a lot more quiet and listen, because I think listening is a key piece of that. I know you're going to last later, but that Kate Murphy's book, You're Not Listening, I just think it's a real key piece of that, is to focus in. It's an active participation. And I try and practice that. I do a lot of volunteerisms as I work around, and I meet a lot of different people in a lot of different situations in a different part of life. And it challenges you to be able to slow down and listen. And I think that's where, in a coaching conversation, where you do that prep beforehand. I did a lot of ops. I mean, I was in operations my whole time. I mean, every year I was getting at least one evaluation, somebody standing over your shoulder and grading you, multiple sometimes. And I think before you go into that evaluation, you have to bring yourself to a certain point, the whole breathing thing, the whole, the meditation piece of it. And to be able to get there, I think to go into that coaching conversation, that's what's important. I think that's what you would see is a little different Buzz in the coaching conversation, not being not authentic, but being more curious and being more inquisitive and being more present and making sure that I'm focusing on the person, and which goes along with Reynolds' book. But yeah, I think that's what you would see there. But if you see me in public, like at the Red Cross or the food bank, you would notice me. Like you wouldn't leave there going like, I don't remember Buzz. Like you're going to remember who I was.
Buzz, I do have just a question on that, just because it's actually just sort of come up in my own coaching. What do you do, like as a regular practice, to like get to the place where you could slow down to listen, rather than offer, like a story or offer advice, because that may be more of your natural bent. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's tough for me. Like my wife, she's an angel. Like she'll listen to me for a while and like, are you listening? She goes, I'm listening. I got it. But, and I realize there are certain times when I need to listen to her. Like there are certain times in life where you can tell like, oh, this person's needing to talk about something. She works at a senior care facility. People pass away.
Those are really practical though, Buzz. I think that's really helpful, especially, for leaders that are just, that are quick to give advice. And so, especially if you've had a lot of experience. Buzz, what do you think coaches specifically, you run into a lot of coaches, what do you think they need to stop doing and start doing if they really want to stay relevant?
Yeah, and I think rather than say stop doing, I want to say start.
Okay, you start there.
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about AI, because I kind of think, and this is maybe bigger than coaching. I mean, I run into people and they're like, hey, that's not going to really affect I'm still going to be able to do this if I just change my widgets and change my course just a little. We're still going to be okay. Like AI, like the normal thing in coaching I hear is, hey, as long as we do the person to person, the personable type thing, we'll be fine. We'll be good. I don't know if we know the answer to that yet. I don't know if we know how that's really going to affect us. I think, and I don't even know if it's like the 18 to 25-year-olds. This could be the even younger people. I think we're so ingrained with, and you think of any tool that we've gotten before, we're thinking of how to integrate that tool into what we do. Like, how do I use that tool to make things better? I think AI is a game changer. I think this is going to be something way different. And I just don't think, if you ask the people in the buggy whip factory, those people would be like, I'll be making buggy whips in the year 2000, like, okay, dude, the things are changing. There's a car, there's a locomotive, like things are changing. But I do think what we need to start doing is, along with AI, is to educate people on where we are and what the ROI is on what we do. I know those are really disparate type things, but those are the things I've been thinking about a lot with stopping and starting what we do. Because if we can't convey with this AI thing, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to talk about this with AI here in a second, but you can do a lot of things with AI that we couldn't before. Like, it's pretty incredible. You can record somebody's voice in 30 seconds and get them to say anything you want. The images, I saw that Tom Cruise fight with Brad Pitt on the roof the other day. It doesn't look totally real, but it's getting closer. So I just feel kind of the AI piece combined with educating people on what we are and the return on investment that we could provide with AI still there is going to be really important. And Matt, I don't know if I know all I don't think I'm smart enough to know those answers right now, but it's been weighing on my mind a lot with AI. And I feel the platforms are moving towards AI generated type coaching, like the democratization. And all of a sudden it's like, these places aren't hiring anymore because they don't need you as much. And so I think that's going to be a big deal. And I don't know if I know the answer to that. So I don't think I got to the core of your question there, but
it's okay. You bring up something that we've had lots of conversations with on the show. And just, I think that the unique thing about your comment is this desire to learn about it rather than to like put it to the side. Because I don't think we can put it to the side. I think we have to sort of ask some big questions like, how does this change what we do? Or does it? And then if we say no too quickly, like, hey, it doesn't change it. Because I remember when Dave and I in 2020, at the beginning of COVID, where a lady says, oh, this AI thing is coming, but it's not that big of a deal. I remember it and I was like, okay, I don't think so. And it wasn't very long. And she just didn't know. And it would have been better to say, we just don't know.
Yeah.
But we're going to be open to learning and seeing what happens. So
I think that's the key part of it. We want to be part of the conversation. So I don't know where we can get into to get that, but we need to be part of the conversation. We can't let others drive what's happening. We just can't let others drive. You look at like college football with like the transfer portal and the money, NIL money, and like we want to be part of the discussion before it starts really affecting us. And I'm really worried about I don't know, you guys, I would welcome your conversation on this, kind of maybe an overproduction of coaches. Like we produce all these coaches, but then we're not focusing on the key aspects to be able to keep the industry going. So those have been the things I've been thinking about a lot with coaching, the AI and producing coaches.
Yeah. Dave, what do you, this is, I would say Buzz kind of set you up for something we talked about like the future of coaching, or why do you want to be a coach, or so you want to be a coach. What would you like, want to share a little bit with our audience, what we thought about?
Yeah, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Buzz. There's so many things. I think I was struck by Buzz's comments because as coaches, so often we're helping people be curious and decide what their relationship is with people, with things, right? And it's, if we, in 2020, if we decided AI was our enemy, right, as coaches, versus we were curious and we were embracing it. And, both in coach development, and then how we help our clients be more effective and more efficient. So I think, this might not be exactly what you were referring to, Matt, but the idea of being a human coach and what our value proposition is, and why people hire Buzz, why people hire Matt, why people hire David, right? It's you bring something about you, has a value proposition that people want to have, that conversation, connect with you, that generates that value, right? And we've talked a lot about this, is how do I get to that place where I can generate that value? Some of it is I develop better because I use AI to develop, and use AI to develop coaches. We do, right? And then some of it is, wow, I'm really much better at looking at feedback from coaching sessions because I have AI to kind of say I need to be 5% more affirming or 5% more challenging. Right. So I think the relationship we have with it, I'm interested, Buzz, in terms of, like, as you look out, into the future.
Yeah, I think I lean into my military piece quite a lot, because I think I've been doing coaching for a lot longer than I really thought I had. I took over a flight commander job in 2004. 2004, I took over a flight commander job. And I would say before that, I was mentoring, coaching. But from 2004 on, as a field grade officer, that was really almost a focus of my job, was producing, helping other leaders, moving them along. And I really appreciate your words, because I just did a pitch. It's kind of it's a faith-based type thing. And I was doing a pitch, and in the pitch, I just said, hey, I just want you to know, we have these tools, we have this program, we'll do this, but you're buying me. Like, this, what you're getting is me. Like, if you don't want me, you don't want what we're going to do here. And it went really well. And I think what I bring there is the maturity, the background, the military piece of all the leadership piece, and the education and the branding. I mean, I have a couple other degrees too, but as my wife would tell you, those degrees don't make you smart. So, but yes, I have a blend of education and blend of military. And I feel the way I connect with people and the way I can present myself is going to give a good sense of, hey, this person wants to work with me. And I think that's where I am on that. I think that's where I am.
Just because this is something that some of our coaches, especially if they're early on in their career, it is a little bit of like, wait, I thought I was supposed to remove myself from the coaching conversation. But as a business person, that customer sitting across from you is buying you as a brand. That is hard to understand, but everything that you embody, all of your values, is what they're buying. Can they trust you? Are you approachable? Like, that's the brand they're buying. Yes, it's not about you in the conversation, but the purchase of you as a service is about you, because they don't want anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as a leader, that's what you bring to the table. Being able to convey that to people, I think, is important. I think there's a certain amount of confidence. I don't know if we have time for another story, but I always ask people, if you had a process or program or a job or something that you had to get done, you had to pick one other person in the world, anywhere in the world, to work with you on it. There's somebody that comes to your mind right now, both of you, And so I ask, well, why did you pick that person? It's almost exactly the same reasons. And then what I really ask is, like, well, would that person pick you? And if not, then why? And so I kind of think through that a lot every day, and I'm trying to convey that to people in a sincere way, and just let them know that my why is to serve others. And I'm here to, I mean, just like being on this podcast, whether it's launching my podcast, I'm got a book thing I'm working on. Those are all related to why. So my why. So if I'm not serving others every day when I get up and do it, I just don't do it anymore. My season of life and where I am, and that's what they're buying. They're going to buy somebody that's invested in their person or them. I'm starting a new coaching relationship with a person next Monday. And so I'm totally bought into their organization and that person. So, and if I'm not there, I don't need to be there if they don't want me there. I mean, I think that's important to me, that I'm a valued person in that relationship.
Hey, Buzz, you have mentioned some books. Do you have some unconventional resources, podcasts, habits, daily rituals that you recommend? Like, what do you got behind where's your book in that list there, Buzz? I see Viktor Frankl. I see Marsha Reynolds, who we've had on the podcast. No shameless plug.
Or you listen to her, yeah. Well, yeah, I just have a ton of books. And I don't mean to repeat any books too. So I was on those, do that for you this morning, because I've heard most of them mentioned here. But Humble Inquiry, I think that's a great book to read for a coach. I think Marsha Reynolds' book is a great one because it gives that basic, that basic thing: inquisitive, present, authentic. If you can just be that, like, you don't go to a dinner party with a checklist. You go there and go like, oh, you're a surfer. How does that work? Tell me about surfing. Tell me about, like, you don't dream up these questions. You just ask questions. So I think that's really important too. So I kind of separate coaching with leadership. You're Not Listening by Kate Murphy. I just think that's a really great book. The podcast, Coaching Real Leaders, Muriel, it is fantastic if coaches can hear other coaches coaching, I think. And then if you can work through what the fix was for the next event that comes up and use that as part of your reflective practice and journal with it. I think I combine those two things, and to me, that is super important to me, because in operations, just like in life, things are going to occur again. So when that thing comes up again, you'll be ready for it when it occurs.
Now's our time. Dave, what's your reflection on everything Buzz shared?
I have a couple of years of relationship with Buzz to build on for this reflection. And when I first met Buzz, and from this conversation, what really comes to mind is my definition of what servant leadership is. Your picture pops up in my dictionary now, like when I think of servant leadership. And I say it because the evidence and what you share and who you are, how you're being in terms of our conversations and how you interact and how you coach is a incredibly competent and humble servant to others, right? When you say you get down on other people's level to relate to them, I see that in every interaction. So I am privileged to know you and have a relationship with you and get to do work with you. And I think there's lessons for all coaches of, when you think you need to be more, you actually need to serve more. You need to listen more, right? You don't need to be more, have more knowledge, be able to.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because the last 2 years I went on a mission trip. I'm going on another mission trip this October to Africa. And I think what I've really discovered, not just discovered, but really illuminated, is that no matter where you are in life or where you are, and no matter how much material wealth you have, the struggles are exactly the same as it is if you're sitting in a $500,000 house or if you're sitting in a hut with no windows, no power, and no water. And those people's struggles are the same everywhere you go. And that's very human and very humbling to think through.
Well, as someone who just got back from Zimbabwe, I would say that the the struggles are really, and I think as a coach, I think my takeaway was that I really just need to be curious about who's in front of me, not worry about the question I'm asking, or get caught up in a powerful question. That usually isn't a challenge I experience a lot, but it is actually just something you often forget, that you are sitting in front of a human being with all kinds of challenges, no matter how difficult they are. Some of them more dire than other ones, maybe more first world, but they're still the challenges that they're facing, whatever they happen to be. Buzz, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Multiple ways. First off, LinkedIn. I'm really heavily on LinkedIn quite a bit. So you can find me on there. You can subscribe to the newsletter. My website, workhardtellthetruth.com. Work hard, tell the truth is my mantra, my vision there. And so there's a lot to go over there with working hard and telling the truth. I came up with that when my mom passed away. We cleaned out our house a few years ago. And as I traversed the house there, I thought, what do we leave behind? We're throwing away almost everything in the house. And I just thought, like, what do I want to leave behind? And I thought, well, 50 years from now, when my grandkids are sitting with their grandkids, I kind of hope they go, hey, Grampy Buzz used to say, work hard, tell the truth. Let me tell you what that means. That would be a win in my situation, a total win. So if you get a chance to go there, I would love that. You can email me. My contact information is on LinkedIn. That's easy to find. I'm on Facebook. I always post books on Facebook, so you can find me there too. I usually post books after I read them or as I'm getting finished with them. So I love that, and I love to have a conversation with anybody if they're available. You can find me anywhere you want on podcast. The Leadership Buzz. I should have mentioned that. Find it wherever you find your podcast, on Apple or Spotify, or even on YouTube too.
All right. Well, Buzz, we really appreciate you spending the time with us, and we just encourage our listeners to go listen to the Leadership Buzz for more buzz.
Thank you, Buzz.
I'm sure you probably tell a few stories or two per episode. We thank you for your time, and our audience, have a great time, and we'll see you soon.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Big thanks to our sponsor, Character Matters Coaching and Consulting. If you're ready to unlock your leadership potential and make the impact you're meant to make, visit charactermatterscoaching.com and connect with Matt about transforming your team or organization. If this conversation sparks something for you, share it with a fellow leader who needs to hear it. And don't forget, all of today's resources are waiting for you in the show notes. Until next time, keep discovering your secret sauce.